Okay, class, I'm back to give you just a final recap in terms of just-in-time marketing, things that we talked about in the last chapter that you read, and just finish up with a little bit on that this week. And then I want to get into a little bit of marketing metrics, marketing automation. I got some kind of fun tools to show you and resources available to kind of walk you through maybe even some of my past examples of using metrics to present to executives. So that's coming. Of course, email marketing. We'll do a little bit on that, and then we'll finish out the semester with some content from you. I'll explain that in a little bit. Another lecture about kind of what's expected there. In this case, I just want to give you. We've talked a lot about marketing the right message, understanding people's problems, having empathy, and I want to talk just an actual real strategy, like a real tactic that you can use as part of just-in-time marketing and the right message at the right time. Before I jump into that, let me just tell you, marketing kind of has three responsibilities, and that is highlighted here real quick: finding new customers, keeping customers, and growing the value of customers. And I found in my various positions in the workplace that those responsibilities aren't necessarily found in every marketing department, all three of them. So, for example, one of my first companies I worked for, our job was very much about building collateral content, right? Case studies, success stories, white papers, sales presentations, kind of really more focused on that. My next job was much more focused on sales enablement. So I was a kind of more of a sales engineer. I was going out on sales calls. I was working directly with the sales team, developing one sheet sales slicks, those type of collateral. And then, my most recent previous job at the Clyde Companies in construction was a lot more about, customer value over time and PR and community relations. And so it's been interesting to see how marketing departments take on an identity within an organization based on either their skills or needs of that organization. So be sure to, as you work and find in these different companies, find out what it is that your marketing team is good at and that you can excel at and that you can get some good wins doing in the finding, keeping, and growing area. Maybe you can't do all three. Maybe you're not responsible for all three, and really focus in on what the executive kind of feels your role is for marketing in that organization. Obviously, in one of these three categories of finding, keeping, or growing, you're always at least somewhere tied to the bottom line, right? How are you creating additional value to the organization with the customer? So just something to kind of keep in mind in terms of our responsibility. But I found this book, Breakthrough Advertising. Don't have to read through it all. This is kind of one of his highlights that I think is really important for us to remember in marketing, that he divides the prospect or the customer into 5 stages, and start here at 5 at the bottom, and this and kind of move yourself up through the process. That there's a level of awareness of your potential client at any given time, right? Completely unaware means they don't really know that they have a problem. Problem aware, yeah, I've got a problem, but I don't know if there's a solution out there for my problem. Some of you may have that right now where you're just like, man, this is so frustrating, or I hate doing this, or I wish there was an easier way. Well, that means you have a problem, you just don't know there might be one. Then there's sometimes they move into the solution aware, right? So they know what they want to get, they know that there's a solution out there, but they're not confident that you are the right solution for them. Then there's the product aware. So now the customer is aware of the solution, aware of the results, has done their homework, done their due diligence, knows that your product might be the right one, but not necessarily the right one for them. And of course, the most aware, really in this case, it's I've made my decision. Is the process of purchasing easy enough? Do I feel confident and have trust in your company? So some of us go through this kind of process. Right now, for example, I'm looking at pianos, and I'm probably in more of the problem aware situation than anything else, maybe a little bit solution aware. The piano that I have, as much as I try to tune it, is just so old it can't be tuned. And so we're looking at a new piano, but I've got, as I look at kind of the solutions that I'm looking for, I want a piano that has weighted keys, that feels like a real piano, but is digital so that I can plug it in and not have to hear my kids practicing the piano because it just about kills me. So, then we move into, okay, I'm going to go do my homework, which I started doing yesterday. And I was looking at, all the different brands and prices. And I found the one that I wanted. It's Yamaha. It's $20,000. And there's no way I'm going to get that one. So now how do I find, the appropriate substitute for that? And so on through that kind of awareness problem that we're at. But what's important for us in marketing is this chart down here. Hopefully maybe I can zoom in a little bit and you can see it. This is really important as you look at your awareness stages of your customer, realize that there is, customers all throughout that awareness level. And you need to make sure that you target your content correctly at the right time to the right awareness. So how much do you have to say depends kind of proportionally to the level of awareness that your customer's at, okay? So at low awareness, you have to offer a healthy amount of explanation, storytelling, emotion, right? You have to help them understand that their problem is significant, and that that there's other people and validation and all of that as part of helping them get into you as a potential solution to their problem, right? And as their awareness increases, the amount of content you need to provide them decreases, okay? So at first you have to kind of give them a story, make them not feel alone, validation. Then you've got to really target, once they feel that pain, you've got to really target them with your value prop, right? What is it that you can do that nobody else can do, okay? Then, they're getting really close. They're seeking solutions. They want to start connecting. So this is more assurances, right? This is case studies. This is examples that, hey, I solved this problem for someone just like you, and they loved us, right? And then finally, at some point, when they really believe that you're the solution, you've got to make the process easy. You've got to make the journey happy, and you've got to make them believe that you are the trusted partner going forward with them in their product or service that they're looking for. So this goes back to kind of that just-in-time marketing, or kind of marketing the right message at the right time. And this ties to another way of looking at through the awareness level of your customers. And you need to be thinking about landing pages or content that targets the different awareness stage of your customer and helps them move from low awareness to high awareness, and that your content message matches what the customer is needing at that time. So I really like this as kind of a good way of showing that your content needs to change. You can have a great story, right? You start here and then pick out parts of that story that are smaller segments that help kind of move them through this channel, right? So start with the big picture and then take out pieces of that through this channel. So really like this as kind of an example of how your marketing messaging should flow with working with your potential customers. Now, there's another actual tactic that I really, really like that I came across a couple of years ago. And this is really important, I think, to help customers really believe that you are the right solution. And I see this, and I, currently making this mistake right now. But we call it the PAS formula. There's other words for it out there too. I think it's in the TAC or something like that. But the idea is that when you're writing copy, right, for your audience, obviously they're coming to you because they have a problem. You need to restate that problem. You need to validate that the problem they're coming to you for is a problem that you solve. And the way that you validate that is by restating it, by reminding them why they came to you. But interestingly enough, the second step to this is to agitate the problem, right? Twist the knife in. Make them realize that this problem is even worse than they believe. It's painful, right? What happens if the problem doesn't get solved? And you're really digging into, you've got a problem, but what you don't realize is you got a big, big problem. Because we only, we're emotional creatures, and so we're only going to make decisions if we feel emotionally compelled to make a decision. Okay. Obviously, the third step is to solve the problem, right? So find a way to make them believe that you understand the problem, it's a horrible problem, and you can help them solve the problem. Okay. So it's called the PAS formula, if you will. Okay. Highlight their pain, make it seem unbearable, offer them a way out, and you can even explain the outcome or offer some proof. Okay. Just depending on the amount of content and space that you have. But it always helps when you offer them, a solution to also say, oh, by the way, here's proof of how we solve the problem for someone else. So let's go through some fun examples, okay? Insecure. All right, that's a problem many people face. You're not alone. Millions of people admit to being insecure, all right? So there we go. We've restated the problem and helped them understand we understand you, okay? Yet, remain that way and you'll live in a life of shadows, a life on the fringe, always wishing, never doing, okay? So, wow, you talk about twisting in the knife, there it is right there, right? This is a problem. And if you remain that way, it's going to become a horrible problem. But fortunately, there's an answer, right? And then we could go into our solution, okay? Here's another fun one. Tired of girls not looking at you? You're not alone. There are thousands of guys who are trying everything to get women to pay attention to them, wearing V-neck t-shirts, riding heavy motorcycles, running in their short shorts. But alas, at the end of the day, you want a nice woman to hold you as you fall asleep, right? This is what you want. But that will never happen until she thinks you're a man. Okay, so there you go. So there's that knife being dug in, and that day will never come unless you do something about it, right? So there's another digging in that knife, really making that problem seem urgent, right? Urgent. Okay, here's another one. Losing visitors. Every website loses visitors. But for you, every person who bails is lost income, right? We really understand your problem. You're a business. You're losing income. And it may seem like things are getting worse. If you want to stem that downward spiral, then use, our product, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Are you the always last one to get the scoop on technology trends? Well, I feel that way. It wouldn't be so bad, but your job demands that you stay current. Otherwise, your competition gets a jump and profits don't. And profits when you don't, okay? Instead, subscribe to us and blah, 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 okay? So again, problem. We've all been there, in the rut. Your business is okay, but not doing great. You treat your clients well, they love you, but your client base is growing slower than a snail across the wet cement, okay? Fun imagery. You read articles on SEO, on email marketing, attracting website traffic, effective design and conversion strategies. They make sense on paper, but applying those tactics to your business is another matter. All right, we really understand their problem. This is where they're at. Agitate. You feel overwhelmed with ideas about what you should and shouldn't be doing online, and the tech stuff just makes your head hurt. And, of course, there's a small matter of actually running your business, so you do nothing, right? This is reality for a lot of small businesses. This is why they come to a digital marketing agency, right? This is really understanding that, hey, you need revenue. You know you need to do these things. You don't have time to do them. Being stuck sucks. I get it. So let's get you unstuck. The Unstuck Strategy session isn't about giving you more stuff to do. It's about finding the tactics that will give you the maximum return in your efforts online. And then, of course, we could bring in an added outcome, okay? So this PAS method is here's a good example of where you to go to see if you're actually doing this well. Go look at perhaps some ads that your company is running and see if the ads that you're running and the landing pages are doing this PAS formula well. We're dealing with this right now with our relationship test that I've talked about in class, okay? So we might have an ad out there that's talking about depression or anxiety, and then they hit our landing page, and here we have this beautiful couple holding hands with a beautiful sunset, and the person just came to us because they're feeling anxiety or depression, and our landing page is saying, well, here's this perfect couple. And so immediately they're saying, well, that's not why I came here, right? I obviously I want that, but I'm here because I believe that you understand that I'm feeling anxiety and depression. So we're working on changing our landing pages to say, okay, if we're targeting them for anxiety or depression, then our page needs to say, hey, are you here because you have anxiety or depression? Well, and then agitate the problem. Well, millions of people across America have this, and they they live on the fringe, and they're frustrated, and they don't know how to get out, and they feel stuck, and they feel trapped. right? Yeah, but there's a solution to that, right? There's real research that actually, with private algorithms that we can actually detect, identify, and help you start down the path of solving this, okay? Maybe somebody's hitting our landing pages because of sexual frustration, right? Then we need to target that problem, agitate that problem, and then solve that problem. And so our landing pages, our imagery, our content, our messaging, our titles have to manage or have to match the reason why people are visiting us in the first place. So this is a really quick, fast way, I think, that you can use this PAS formula in your content as a copywriter or even as a videographer to help really create that empathy at the first, right? That's the trust that you're building as a marketer, the empathy that you understand their problem, making their problem worse, and then helping them solve that problem. So this is just a tactic with some good examples. I'll post this in announcements so you guys can have these examples as well, so you don't have to come back through the video. I'll post this graphic and all of this so you can kind of see just how to, just a good strategy tactic, more of a tactic than a strategy, of how to actually be a good copywriter, be a good content marketer at the right time, in the right way, the way that our customers want to receive the content based on their awareness, based on where they're at in their problem solving. And more will go into this as we talk automation. We talk about chatbots, we'll go into that. We'll talk about kind of the messaging. All of this comes into fact of how do you make sure that your message is matching where the customer is at in their buying process. And that's what's so critical and why we track bounce rates or why people are falling off or why people aren't purchasing. Right? When we look as marketers, we look more and more into that because most likely we're not solving the problem of our customer at the awareness level that they need us to. We're missing, our messaging is missing, or it's not being received in the state of mind, right? The emotional state of mind that our customers are in. So this is just a little something I wanted to share with you, kind of wrapping up this concept of just-in-time marketing or matching our message with the awareness of the customer, just kind of different ways of looking at that problem that we have in marketing a little bit about making sure that our messaging is aligned. So a little bit there for you on that topic. There's more we could go into, some more stories I'll share with you next time, but I just wanted to give you a final cap on that topic. And again, I'll post all of this for you. And we'll get more into marketing automation and email marketing next. Take care. Bye.